Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another Dreamhack Summer match. This is Game 2 between Quantic versus Liquid. If you have not checked out Game 1, click the link in the bottom left-hand corner, and that will bring you right to my Game 1 broadcast. Of course, you can check out Toby's cast or the Good Studios cast if you can find them on YouTube, but if you want to stick around, feel free, as I'll be more than happy to accommodate you. But spoiler alert, in Game 1, Liquid managed to just severely outplay Quantic, maybe perhaps outdraft them, but they definitely managed to severely outplay Quantic and took the game commandingly. But this game, Quantic have the opening choice. They're going to bat the Darkseer, and Liquid, we'll see what they decide to do. Are they going to Treant up in the pool again? They just showed in the last game that they are very capable of dealing with Treant, provided, of course, they get the right set of heroes. Now, I don't know if when Quantic picks up the first hero, if it is going to be Treant, or maybe it's going to be something like a Wisp or a Barret if Liquid do not choose to ban out those heroes. If they pick up Treant, will they ban out heroes like Juggernaut, Crystal Main, and Visage, heroes of that nature, which were just so detrimental against them in that Trial vs. Trial matchup? Liquid just had so much damage that tree could not simply keep up. And more importantly, I think Quantic need a more reliable performance out of Funzy, the middle laner, since Korok just completely outplayed him. Viper is really strong in the middle lane. He can't really spam down creep plays, but he can control, he can harass quite efficiently, and he just got outplayed by Korok playing a Slark of all heroes. But Liquid not going to give Funzy his most comfortable hero in the form of Outworld Devourer. Instead, they're going to ban it out themselves. So that leaves Wisp and Barret left in the pool, and Quantic probably not going to ban out either of those heroes, so they're going to get at least one of those heroes. So I'm not too sure about this maneuver by Liquid, but maybe they feel like Korok, if he does go mid again, really needs to have as much of a good time as possible. And Liquid, usually they're strongest when Korok gets off to a really good start. Now, I know that might seem obvious, but sometimes Korok can play a little bit volatile. And Liquid, it's difficult for them to overcome a bad performance of Korok if the rest of their lineup can't pick up the slack. So Quantic gonna mount the Barret themselves. Interesting. So Liquid forced to mount the Treant or the Wisp, and we'll see what they decide to go for. They might choose to keep both heroes in the pool in order to snatch up one of the heroes themselves. And we're gonna have to see what Liquid decide to do, because if they ban Treant, then Quantic will get the Wisp. And Empire, or the old Empire with the Wisp, keep in mind Golbak did not play the Wisp. It was actually Funnick who played the Wisp back on Empire, but I'm sure Golbak is very well acquainted with Wisp. So Liquid have to make a bit of a tough decision right here, and they're probably thinking about what they're going to open up with. They're going to ban out the Bane, and we'll have to see what Quantic decides to go for. They're going to immediately snatch up the Wisp, and Liquid, they're going to pick up Gyrocopter as well as Treant, but Quantic probably going to respond with Chaos Knight. I can't really imagine why you wouldn't pick up Chaos Knight, especially with the 2-ban 2-pick system. And if Quantic let Chaos Knight go through, then Liquid will just immediately ban him. So Quantic probably going to pick up the Chaos Knight right now, and yes, indeed, that will be the decision. But with Chaos Knight, as you all well know, such a deadly combination. Chaos Knight ridiculously tanky, and the Reality Tether Stun combination is just so powerful. It does a lot of damage, can pull you from very far away, gives a nice duration of stun, and then you can follow up with a Chaos Bolt. And the thing about Wisp Chaos Knight is that can be laned almost anywhere. It can lane in a defensive tri-lane and just try to level up the Wisp and Chaos Knight as much as possible. It thrives in an aggressive tri-lane since they can pretty much kill whoever they want. And they can even go mid and dominate most mid heroes in general. So Liquid, we're going to have to see how they decide to respond to it. They have Treant Protector, a very defensive hero that can sort of help you out against Chaos Knight Wisp, but not until he hits maybe level 3 or level 5 where he gets that really significant bonus of living armor. But Team Liquid gonna bat the Queen of Pain, so it looks like they're a bit fearful of what they want to give up to Funzy in the middle lane. And keep in mind, Liquid do have the first pick after this ban phase is over. And right now in Liquid, they have most likely a support tree. This could potentially be an off-lane tree, but I'm pretty sure this will probably be a support tree in a tri-lane, since they might know that Quantic will go on the offensive. But if they put Tree in the off lane, they might have a higher level of living armor in order to withstand the tri-lane Chaos Knight Wisp combination. So I'm not too sure how Tree will be played. My gut instinct says it will be a support Treant, but I'm sure Bulba, if he is required to take the Tree to the off lane, can definitely do just that. But Quantic, mulling over their strategies for a while, they're going to bat the Visage. Fluff and Stuff has played a magnificent Visage all throughout Dreamhack thus far, so getting rid of the Visage is a really strong option. You don't want to give Treant a really aggressive lane partner, because then his lane just becomes unmanageable, because you won't really be able to get any kills with the Treant help, and you won't be able to sort of withstand the relentless barrage that Visage can potentially dish onto your heroes. So, smart ban by Quantic, and also pretty much a respect ban towards Fluff, because his Visage has just been out of the world this tournament. Liquid, knowing that Quantic have a very early game centric lineup at the moment, and Wisp Chaos Knight can transition to the late game, but the thing about Chaos Knight is that he's not a good flash former, so he needs to get off to a good start, because the majority of his gold does come from kills. So Liquid want to mitigate the early game as much as possible. They're going to bat the Chen, and Quantic, respecting Korok to a great degree, going to bat the Slark, as Liquid going to immediately respond with this Naga Siren. Smart choice by Liquid. The only thing I'm a bit concerned about is, even though Relocate will get sort of stopped in its tracks by Song and Siren, where is Liquid going to find the damage? Because Naga Siren, her only reliable damage output comes from the Riptide. Her base damage has been reduced to such a great degree that her physical damage is not really that impressive until you pick up something like a Diffusal Blade. Treant does a decent amount of damage, but Leech Seed is pretty much the only spell it can use. Rocket Barrage and Flathand can do a decent chunk as well, but not enough to take down a Wisp Chaos Knight combination. And the other thing I'm worried about with this Naga Siren choice is that at level 1, considering this will most likely be a trialing Naga Siren, at level 1, the Song of the Siren does have a 180-second cooldown. Meanwhile, Relocate can be cast twice in that duration. So, I don't know. Naga Siren Ultimate, it's very, very strong in terms of stopping that combination, but you can't stop it every single time they teleport in, unless Song of Siren does hit a very, very fast level 11. But Liquid, they have a lineup that can scale well into the late game with the Gyrocopter as well as the Naga Siren, and they have a pretty strong defensive lineup with the Treant Protector. But you saw in the last game how important damage was, because Quantic were simply not able to get enough damage onto the heroes of Liquid, even though they did have a tree, and they themselves were pretty difficult to kill. Quantic going to pick up the Puck, and that is going to give them a very, very safe option in the middle lane. Dreamcoil, of course, holds people in place, allowing Wisp and Chaos Knight to go to town. The Sounds is going to be really, really crucial as well, and Puck, more importantly, is just a really, really strong mid laner in general, especially since Kunipane has already been removed from the pool. And Liquid, will they put Naga Siren in the middle lane once again, like they did in a previous match up against Virtus Pro? And that didn't work out too well. I mean, Riptide can push it away very, very frequently because it has such a low cooldown, but still, he won't really be able to stop the Puck whatsoever. Puck can just orb out of any sort of sticky situation because it can orb out of the net, so that will be a bit annoying. And of course it can react to net since it has such a long cast animation for Naga Siren, and it has a very, very, dodgeable projectile animation. So Liquid, we'll see what they respond with. I'm not too sure what this Naga Siren will be played as. It might be played as a mid-hero like TC did against Virtus Pro, but I'm inclined to believe that this will be a trialing Naga Siren carry, and this will probably be a safe lane Gyrocopter. So Liquid themselves are looking to go on the aggressive. They pick up the Crystal Main, so now they have a nice, reliable support to do DPS in the early game. I like this choice quite a bit because it does give Liquid some DPS that they were sorely lacking. And of course, frostbiting heroes like Chaos Knight, Wisp, Puck will be really, really important. But if Puck or Wisp and Chaos Knight get enough levels, then that Crystal Main will be food, and she will die at every single team fight. So it's important that Crystal Main does get off to a reasonably good start, otherwise she will just feed gold endlessly to Quantic. Quantic gonna pick up the Keeper of the Light. So this is actually very reminiscent of a Virtus Pro lineup. All they need is a Clockwork. I don't know if you saw that Luminous commentary, but Virtus Pro picked up a lineup with Wisp, Chaos Knight, Puck, Keeper of the Light, and Clockwork, and of course, there are a lot of nifty things you can do. You can do Blinding Light to push people out of the cogs, to burn mana. You can use Blinding Light to break the Dreamcoil. It's pretty much impossible pushing against this lineup, and I mean, it's ridiculously difficult to fight against this lineup. So Liquid, we'll see if they recognize this and ban out the clock, but still, I like Quantic's draft thus far. It does have a nice amount of damage thrown in. The only problem is that if it does go to the late game, this lineup does fall off quite a bit, but still, Quantic's lineup is really not designed to go to the late game. It's designed to take advantage of the early game and just slam Liquid at that point. Liquid can instead ban out the Lich, so I guess they fear that offlane Lich, and they also fear the damage it can push out. And I guess people in general don't like playing Lich up against Treant, since Treant does want some experience in the early levels. Again, all Treant really needs is level 5 or level 7. Even level 3 is good enough for the majority of the early game, but he wants those levels, and Lich denying so many creeps definitely will make that happen, and Liquid are an experienced depend lineup at this point, so banning out the Lich does make sense. And also, since Liquid do have 2 melee heroes as well as a very limited range hero in the form of Gyrocopter, that Chain Frost does have the potential to bounce a lot, especially with Dreamcoil restricting the movement of Liquid's heroes. So Lich, I like the ban, but it does leave Clockwork open to Quantic, and if they take Clockwork, then Liquid might be in a lot of trouble, since that lineup is just ridiculously annoying to play against. I mean, you can't ever push in against it. They have global area effect. I mean, with the Clockwork Rockets that the Wisp relocate in, they have a lot of strong counter gank, they have a lot of ganking, they have a lot of initiation. but Quantic themselves going to be out the Clockwork, so maybe they think Liquid, they need an offlane, and Clockwork was the best possible offlane they could pick up. So if that's the situation, then that does make a lot of sense. But I don't know, I might have a chance to just see if I could get my hands on the clock. Then again, it might not have been a strategy that Quantic has practiced, so there could be that as well. But Liquid, right now they need a hero for Bulba, unless Treant does go to the offlane. Or you could potentially play the Naga Siren in the Trine, but Liquid gonna pick up the Enigma. This might potentially be an offlane Enigma or a safe lane Enigma, or even a mid-solo Enigma. Mid-solo Enigma is definitely not too bad, but up against Puck, that might be a bit more difficult. I'm not too sure how Enigma will currently be laned. I mean, Enigmas usually are strongest in the jungle, but I can't really imagine Liquid faring well with the defensive dual lane of Naga Siren Treant if Quantic do go on the offensive. So I don't know how this Enigma will be laned. I'm gonna be inclined to see that he will actually lane rather than go into the jungle, but if he does go into the jungle, then he will get a lot of safe farm, finish a fast mech, and if he gets a fast mech, that could really make a difference. As Quantic gonna get another global hero instead of the Clockwork, gonna pick up the Nature's Prophet, so now they have a bit of backup in the late stages of the game, and they also have a really strong split pusher, as well as a really strong global ganker to pair with the Wisp as well as the Chaos Knight. So really strong global lineup picked up by Quantic, me on Liquid, focusing a bit more on teamfight as well as turtling, and they have Tree to help them out, but still, Quantic have a very aggressive lineup, and you saw an overabundance of aggression can really shut down Treant, especially if you get to him in the early stages of the game. But we're going to have to see how Treant is going to perform. If he's in a duel, and he will get more experience, and IXMech will be playing the Treant, so it won't be an offlane Treant, and Bulba will be taking care of the Enigma, so he will actually go to the offlane rather than go into the jungle. And I'm not too sure what Quantic will do. Will they decide to go on the offensive themselves? I mean, Enigma up against Nature's Puppet should heavily favor Enigma, so that might sort of force Quantic to go on the defensive tri-line. But still, I mean, maybe Quantic are just not afraid of the Enigma in general. But interesting, the players and the teams on the side of Quantic, we're going to have Go Black handling the Keeper of the Light. Funzy is going to be taking care of the puck. Sakshka will be navigating that Chaos Knight fucking mad. Will be taking care of the Nature's Prophet. And Silent is going to be playing the Wisp. So Silent switching away from the hard carry, instead playing the Wisp. I guess he's more accustomed doing that. He might be the best Wisp player on the side of Quantic. I mean, Wisp is a hero that you sort of want your best player or your best Wisp player to take it no matter the situation. And I guess Silent is the best Wisp player on the side of Quantic. Meanwhile, on the side of Liquid, we're going to have TC playing the mid-solo Naga Siren. It seems like has a Poor Man Shield and has a couple sets of regeneration pulled towards him. Bulba going to be playing the offlane Enigma, has 3 clarities, so he will be constantly denying these creeps with the Eidolons. But if Quantic push very early on, then that Enigma could potentially be in a bit of trouble. It's going to be Korok playing the Gyrocopter, so he is going to be playing the carry role once again. Fluff is going to be playing the Crystal Man, so expect some early aggression from Fluff. And IXMech 88 is going to be taking care of the Tree and Protector, and I feel like Tree is definitely an IXMech support, because, I mean, he can just sort of do whatever he wants and not die. But, anyways, just checking out the lanes, looks like Keeper of the Light has an indication of place somewhere up on the top lane, and interesting enough, he is making his way towards the top lane. I expect him to switch bottom lane, but he might actually remain mid lane and try to give as much mana as possible to Funzy. If this is an offlane Keeper of the Light, I'll be extremely surprised. He doesn't even have anything like a boost of speed. But an early ward has been placed, and meanwhile, in the middle lane, it is going to be Funzy taking care of the puck, and yes, we are going to see Keeper of the Light indeed rotate to the bottom lane. I mean, this makes a lot of sense. You can get safer experience, you can get some pulls going, and if the tower push situation does arise, Keeper of the Light will be able to melt down creep waves very quickly. Meanwhile, fucking Mad just not even bothering to go to the top lane, recognizing that there is a very strong killing tri-lane up against him. I mean, Crystal Main by himself, or by herself, with the Gyrocopter can potentially shut down any hopes of Nature's Prophet having an impact. So instead, he's going to rush the Midas and go straight into the jungle, as Funzy is being pressured quite a bit by TC, and TC is making the most of this pooled regen. That Poor Man Shield blocking a lot of damage, and so far TC is really taking it to the puck, sparing the Riptide. The 10-second cooldown has really seen a resurgence in terms of Naga play. But now Puck does have that phase shift, so he can be a bit more daring in his approaches, and he is going to get that bottle up ASAP. He was pulled himself, so looks like he won't be bullied out of the lane that easily. And it looks like Bulba, they want to have a high-level Enigma as well as rushing that mechanism, so he's instead going to just deny one creep on the bot lane, or one creep in the middle lane. Rather, probably, that was the case. and just going to take us down straight into the jungle. And I like this choice a lot. I mean, offlane Enigma up against a Wisp Chaos Knight will just not be able to get any experience. And having a fast mechanism up against Quantic's very aggressive lineup is going to be of the utmost importance. So Chaos Knight just farming uninterrupted on the bottom lane for the most part. Well, completely uninterrupted as the supports are pulling. And you can see that extra bit of mana regeneration healed Keeper of the Light up to a significant amount. And it seems like the supports are just stacking, so overall this looks to be a very tame early game, and I'm not too sure who that favors. I mean, it might favor Liquid since IXMech will be getting a lot of extra experience that you might not otherwise get. But then again, Quantic looks like they want to strike in the early portions of the mid game, and that's when their lineup really hits its peak. So that could be the issue for Liquid. You know, Korok looks to apply a bit of pressure on the top tower. Will he force a rotation from the Nature's Prophet? He does have point to teleport, but still with only a Gloves of Haste, he can't really stand up against a Rocket Barrage, especially if Crystal Maiden has Smoker's Seat to wrap around. But it looks like Fluff instead might rush the boot's speed, and he recognizes that Nature's Prophet is in the jungle, so he didn't buy an early Smoker's Seat, knowing that would probably be fruitless. I mean, ganking a Puck is going to be really, really difficult, because he can orb out of the Frostbite for the most part. Instead, Liquid Sports will be clearing out these stacks, and IXMech is going to hit that very fast level 3, and at that point, it'll be very difficult to kill most of the Liquid heroes. You can see that Poor Man's Shield in conjunction with the Living Armor just means TC can take all sorts of harassment. And that is really restricting Funzy in what he can actually do in this middle lane, so Liquid, I mean, just having some overall very favorable mid lane matchups for them. Well, I guess the matchup wasn't very favorable for them in Game 1, but Korok just vastly outplayed Funzy. And it seems like Funzy just not having a good situation against him in Game 2. But still, the time is ticking. Wisp only level 2, but I imagine at some point Keeper of the Light will stop pulling and allow Wisp to get some nice solo support experience while he defends the top lane. All we're waiting for is the push to come in from Liquid before Keeper of the Light rotates, and then Wisp will be able to get a lot of extra experience. And keep in mind, Keeper of the Light can clear these stacked neutral camps with the Illuminate, and that's why the Wisp is continuously stacking them. And you can see the Illuminate damaging these neutrals by quite a bit, and that is going to fuel the experience growth of the Wisp. And once Wisp hits level 6, that's going to be very, very dangerous for Liquid because, I mean, their heroes are not really that tanky outside of Living Armor. Crystal Maiden's very, very weak. Enigma's pretty weak himself, and Nagasaran does not have the sleep. She will get a very fast level 6 since she is in the middle lane, but still, I mean, heroes like Crystal Maiden and heroes like Gyrocopter will just get obliterated, especially with the support of Nature's Prophet. So, Liquid looking to strike the first blow, going to try to take the first tower of the game. And Korok is going to work with this Black Hand. He already has the phase boots, so he wants the extra bit of mobility, as well as that extra bit of plus damage to allow him to last hit a bit easier, but the mobility is really, really important up against Chaos Knight, as well as Wisp. As it looks like Dire are going to get the last hit rather than the heroes, so that will mean an even distribution of gold all around. And Leech Seed will be applied, so it's going to heal up Liquid's heroes as well as push down this tower very, very quickly, and that is going to force a rotation from Goldblack. He does have 1 point to Illuminate, instead getting that 2nd point Chakra Magic, very much a Starin build, and he has the boot speed, so he will be able to escape the Wrath of Korok for now. But looks like he is actually enough to stop the push by himself, especially now that he has hit level 4. Keep in mind, since the Siege Creeps HP have been buffed, he can't he can't one-shot those Siege Creeps by himself any longer. But he is going to be enough to delay this push, so nicely done by Goldblack. But looks like Liquid going to instead pull, get the Creepy Equilibrium back on their side, and get more experience for the supports. And IXMech looking to hit a pretty fast level 5. So far Quantic really not doing too much of anything in these early stages of the game, but again, we're just waiting for Wisp to hit level 6, and once that happens, expect a lot more aggressive behavior from Quantic at that point. And Sakshika, the Chaos Knight, has hit level 6. Seems like Silent, not yet level 5, not even close to level 5, but still has the boot speed online. We'll probably go for an Urn of Shadows. And I think Liquid are very much content playing this in long game, even up against the Nature's Prophet. They have Gyrocopter, they have Naga, they have Enigma. They have the biggest teamfight ultimate in the game at the moment. Well, at least in this game. Still, Funzy has been able to get a semblance of farm as Nagasiren going to pursue the issue. This might lead Funzy to believe that he is going to be ganked by Smoking as Fluff and Enigma are going to be rotating in. Song of Siren will be used just to try to kill off Funzy, but if the orb is casted fast enough, they are going to use the black hole. They're going to secure this kill on Funzy and get the first blood. And all they took was no damage, but that's pretty annoying. Using that 200-second black hole on just a solo puck is going to be... Actually, I think that was very much worth it in the end, because killing the mid-solo hero puck is definitely going to be probably the most dynamic hero on the side of Quantic outside of Chaos Knight and Wisp. And getting TC a bit of a free lane for a bit is definitely going to be very crucial. And I mean, Quantic have so many sort of disables to lock down Enigma that using that black hole whenever you possibly can is going to be really, really crucial. So, good gank by Liquid, as so far TC is controlling this main lane very, very well. And of course, a very, very large portion of that does have to go Alex Mike and his living armor. Meanwhile, Funzy, his Blink Dagger Rush has been severely hampered. Looks like he has not yet decided if he wants to go for treads. Might instead choose to go straight up into the dagger because, I mean, he wants to win as early as possible, and getting that fast Blink Dagger will help sort of make that happen. But still, the extra survivability that treads grant you could be a bit too much for a pug to skip, especially when there's a lot of spells like Song, when there's spells like Black Hole to keep you in place, that you might need that extra bit of survivability that treads does grant you. But I think, I mean, if you get a strong initiation, especially with Chaos Knight relocating in, if you get a Blink Waning Rift, then best defense could potentially be a great offense. And that might be why he is intending to rush the dagger, as he has not picked up a belt or a Gloves of Haste. Instead, looks like he's saving up a decent amount of gold as Fluff. Gotta drive away fucking Mad Korok looking for a kill, but gotta be worried. And actually, fucking Mad picks up a very, very fast Hanamitis with that Gloves of Haste rush, so Nature's Trumpet will start becoming a factor as Korok wants to push down this tower. He's gonna pop the call down. And Quantic have barely damaged his tier 1 in response, so it seems like Liquid might have a good shot in terms of taking down this tower, but no, Golwag gonna say no to that as a Sprout gonna hold Korok in place. Korok taking so much damage as looks like he overextended by just a bit too much. Korok gonna be launched out. Illuminate will be cast. It is gonna just barely clip on Korok as Korok will end up dying. And that is a huge victory for Quantic because they eliminated the Gyrocopter from the picture for 25 seconds. Gonna stop his relentless free farm. As you can see, 71 CS in under 9 minutes is ridiculous for him. And that is going to allow Keeper Light to get a bit of extra gold. And we'll see what item he decides to go for. Will he go for a Mecha Rush? And that could potentially be the case for the side of Quantic. Meanwhile, Naga Siren not going for the Arcane Boots, instead using Treads to get as much mana as possible. I think this build makes a lot of sense. Want an extra bit of survivability, and Tread switching with the ball should be enough mana regardless. I mean, if you didn't have the ball, then you might consider Arcane Boots to cap the Riptide, or to cast the Riptide as much as you can, but with the bottle, I think Tread should be sufficient. You know, it looks like Quantic gonna rotate their heroes to attempt to push the bottom lane silent. Still not yet level 6. Looks like he's gonna get a pretty delayed level 6. I mean, it's still less than 10 minutes, so it won't be the slowest level 6 ever. But Sakshka just farming out of control. Gonna go straight into a BKB. Not yet finishing the drums, wants that extra bit of survivability before he goes to gank. Since Liquid does have a significant amount of damage if Chaos Knight just dives in too recklessly. And I know in the draft I said, well, Liquid lacking a bit of damage on Crystal Main at this point, her damage is reaching her peak, and even Leech Seed does a significant amount, especially if you're diving in without a creep wave support, then Rocket Barrage could be incredibly important. As TC gonna cast Song of Siren, but just a bit out of range, so miscalculating the range of Song of Siren means that this could potentially be an opening for Quantic. They are going to Reality Rift, or they are going to tether up Sakshka. He will get Reality Rift onto Bulba. Here comes Sun, going to hold Bulba in place. Frostbite going to hold Sakshka in place. Sakshka taking so much damage. Is there any backup for Quantic? I don't see any. Quantic Sakshka will be the first one to fall. Will he buy back to get himself back in the fight? Funzy going to be in mod troll. Will be able to orb himself out to safety. So far, Liquid handling this engagement, but they use both of their major ultimates in order to do just that, and that might be why Quantic will look to take another fight very, very soon. At least I think Quantic will look to take a fight. They're not fighting a Naga Siren ultimate. They're not going to be fighting against a Black Hole. And, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, losing to Chaos Knight is going to be pretty bad. But now they can sort of be safe in the knowledge that Liquid won't have their two major ultimates online for at least the next 2 minutes. And that is why Chaos Knight going to make his way back towards the bottom lane. But so far, Quantic really have no indications of pushing just yet. And it seems like Nature's probably going to build straight into a mechanism, so Keeper of the Light will be allowed to save a bit more gold. Actually got Arcane Boots to help fuel up the mana of his other heroes. Some Mecha Rush on Nature's Prophet. This clearly indicates that Quantic want to win ASAP. They want to win in the early to late stages of the mid-game. And they realize in the late stages of the game, their damage output definitely falls off. But Nature's Prophet with the Midas will be able to finish the mechanism relatively soon. He will have it in about 550 gold. Actually, in about 350 gold. Meanwhile, Chaos Knight going to build towards the BKB. The only problem with BKB in this game is that there are a lot of spells that go through the BKB. Naga Siren will isolate the Chaos Knight, Black Hole goes through BKB, Net goes through BKB, and the Tree and Ultimate goes through BKB. Although you can activate BKB to go through the Tree and Ultimate. A little bit of a weird interaction, but hey, that's how the Entangle mechanic works in Dota 1 as well as in Dota 2. Meanwhile, Korok trying to clear out these ancient stacks with the Flat Cannon. You can see the rate he can clear these out is much slower due to that Flat Cannon cooldown nerf. And so far, Liquid, they're doing a nice job stalling out the time. Enigma gonna rush that BKB, try to get that damage online, because on the side of Quantic there's nothing that goes through BKB.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
But still, I don't think anybody on the side of Liquid building towards Mechanism. So if Quantic manage to get a very fast Mechanism on their side, especially with the Wisp on their team, they will be able to get so much healing that they could potentially outlast even a Treant lineup.
Top tower is under attack.
So BKB, Enigma, all well and good, but I don't know if Black Hole is going to be enough to justify it, especially with its ridiculously long cooldown at this stage in the game.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Meanwhile, checking out the levels, looks like the Radiant have a slight experience advantage, definitely in no small part to the Naga Siren, or to the Nature's Prophet Net, as Enigma just getting immediately recalled back in. He will end up dying. IX Mike gonna be in large trouble. He's actually out of mana as he already cast the Leech Seed. IX Mike will be the next one to drop one more attack, but Funzy will clean up as the recall from the Wisp will send back his Chaos Knight friend. Looks like Funzy actually end up dying as IX Mike was able to escape. TC gonna pop the Song of Siren as Sakura remained around. And pause is the call for Liquid, so it looks like something might have went wrong in their team fight, but a Puck for Enigma and a Crystal Main, not the worst trade for Liquid. But it'll definitely be very much in Quantic's favor if they manage to take down this tier 1 tower. And Puck, if he didn't die, he would have had that dagger, but that living armor buffing up IX Mike to such a ridiculous degree that auto attacks by Puck were simply just not enough. But after this tower is taken, Puck will have enough to finish that Blink Dagger, and Wisp Relocate will be back up relatively soon, and Wisp will have enough money to finish his Urn of Shadows. So Liquid in a very uncomfortable position, as again Hockey's is the call. A bit annoying for Quantic, I'm sure, because it's a LAN environment. But, you know, might as well deal with it. And Liquid really don't have what it takes to defend this tier 1 tower. They have already used a multitude of teleports, and their heroes are just way too starved in terms of mana HP that they have no way of possibly defending this tower. So Quantic will be able to take up this tower, and with that tower being finished, they will finish a lot of their items. And Liquid, are they close to picking up any significant items themselves? IX Mike, not too much farm on him. Gyrocopter, only with a Shadow Blade. Probably wants to finish the BKB ASAP. But still, that's going to be a long ways away, especially when his farm space is being restricted so heavily by the Wisp and the Furion.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Meanwhile, Living Armor going to get pretty much instantly dispelled by the relentless barrage of attacks by Quantic.
Tower has fallen.
And fucking Mad already level 11, so that Wrath of Nature does do quite a bit of damage, especially without a mechanism on the side of Liquid. And really, I think Liquid really need the mechanism. I mean, they have a lot of survivability with the Tree and Ultimate, but I think they need a bit more. As Korok going to initiate with his Shadow Blade, looking to get a Rocket Barrage. He does manage to get the extra bit of right-click damage. He does pop the mechanism, the missile. Just too damn slow. Korok will be driven away, actually going to get sprouted, and Korok could potentially be in a lot of trouble. Looks like Funzy going to mess up his micromanagement by just a bit, but Korok did have the invisibility, and Quantic did not have any way to detect him, so Korok going to escape.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
And meanwhile, Fluff trying to pick up whatever experience he can possibly get. But Chaos Knight and Wisp looking to relocate in. They're going to relocate up onto the top lane where Korok is dream called up. Here comes the dust, and Korok will most definitely die, as it looks like Wisp will pick up the last hit, and they're going to immediately teleport themselves back to the bottom lane. So good relocates thus far by the side of Quantic, and Korok has been caught out of position twice as meanwhile Chaos Knight will pick up the Crystal Main. Looks like Crystal Main just overextended by a bit too much. Maybe fucking Mad held her in place with the Sprout. I'm not too sure how that happened, but Crystal Main died, and that is going to mean this tower is in grave danger of being pushed in. Especially with the notes Naga Siren, Song of the Siren to help set up a tower defense. As TC has now managed to hit 11, but that other Song of the Siren was still level 1, so it's still at 180 second cooldown. But X-Mike gonna invis himself with the Nature's Skies. 1 point Nature's Skies, I mean, Nature's Skies is overall not that good of a spell, but getting 1 point can help you out by a decent amount. You know, Chaos Knight gonna finish his BKB, and this is a dangerous point for Liquid since Chaos Knight will be so difficult to bring down. I mean, sure, you have a lot of spells to hold in place, but where's your damage gonna come from? At this point in the game, there's really not too much physical damage that can scare away the Chaos Knight. And Chaos Knight also has that second point of Phantasm, so he will be able to create those Chaos Knight army illusions to go to work. As Quantic looks like they want to engage, they're going to teleport Nature's Prophet in. X-Mike is going to get spotted out. Nature's Guy's going to wear it at the worst time, betrayed by the trees that he trusted so heavily. And it looks like Wisp actually relocated in. They managed to pick off Fluff. They're going to kill off X-Mike as well. And there goes a lot of the defensive power of the side of Liquid. Mechanism could have used to heal off the Wisp as he was so close to being dead. And Chaos Knight with BKB just going on a rampage. Bulba will get caught out. Chaos Knight moves speed just way too fast. The stun is going to be used by Bulba, but to no avail as Sakshika's stun. Just too good, and here comes an own sound Quantic, just getting to a rollicking start. And it's looking very good for them, as TC simply doesn't have enough farm to fight the Chaos Knight by himself, and Korok has died too much at this point in the game. Looks like Quantic gonna try to break down Liquid's tier 2, and I'm not sure if Liquid can stop him. They have living armor as well as a glyph, but Enigma's still dead. He can potentially buy back, but it's a bit iffy, especially against Chaos Knight and Wisp combination without a BKB. They can just reality rift into a tether stun to immediately disrupt that. And also, Puck, Blink Dagger, Silence can immediately disrupt that as well. Of course, assuming he positioned himself correctly. But looks like Quantic gonna give up the push for now, gonna instead back off, probably waiting for the Chaos Knight BKB to come up, and it is coming up relatively soon. And meanwhile, Relocate is coming up very, very soon as well. As you can see, Wisp very, very tanky as that belt of Giant Strength. Liquid getting a bit desperate. They are going to go for a Roshan attempt. They didn't even smoke into Roshan, at least to my knowledge, but their damage output is just not there. As Funzy gonna scout at Liquid. Will there be a Dream Clone to relocate gank attempt? Looks like that will not be the case, but Quantic knows that Liquid are at least considering to attempt Roshan. The Roshan not at max HP. But Quantic just going to continue to farm up, get their items online, and Chaos Knight holding on to a bunch of gold as TC could potentially get ganked, but he's too tank for Funzy to kill by himself. And Puck actually staying a bit longer than he should, but just going to force TC to waste the net. He could have potentially blinked out, but I mean, not the biggest deal. Especially since the invisibility rune does spawn in his side of the map, so he will be able to get himself back up to full HP as well as full mana. And Liquid, I'm not too sure what they will do at this point. They might look for a smoke gank, and that's why Crystal Maiden's dewarring so heavily. But who will they smoke gank? That's the question. As Puck gang position can get in position to get an insta-kill on Fluff. We'll see if he decides to do that. He knows it's a bit more difficult, living armor on his side, but here comes Relocate by the Wisp, gonna teleport in by himself as Chaos Knight was left alone. Some weird mind games. Black Hole gonna be used, but Funzy will be on the place. Crystal Main channeling ultimate for a decent amount of time, but simply not enough damage as Chaos Knight gonna come in with that BKB, just wreaking havoc as Puck will die to the Gyrocopter, but that will be the only casualty on side of Quantic. Magic Wand will be used by Sakshika, gonna pursue Bulba as Puck gonna immediately buy back, and Enigma will end up dying to the Chaos Knight barrage. As a bit of panic setting in for Liquid, that Black Hole was not as good as it could potentially be, as the Song of Siren wasn't immediately cancelled. But still, Even if that black hole did manage to land, I don't know if Liquid actually had enough damage to kill off Quantic. And that BKB on the side of Chaos Knight just makes him so difficult to kill. You can lock him in place, but keep in mind BKB negates pretty much all of the damage on the spells or on the side of Liquid, especially with Gyrocopter and Naga not hitting for that much damage at this point. Quantic will take the Roshan. They will give it to Chaos Knight. He's already finished the drums, so he'll probably make his way towards something like an AC or an armlet. And once he gets that, Liquid will be in grave danger, perhaps losing the game. They are behind severely, 13-4. Have lost a lot of map control, and have lost a lot of experience. Checking out the experience graph, 10k advantage in favor of Quantic at 20 minutes in. Very, very difficult to overcome. And 8k or 9k gold advantage for the side of Quantic, and they have not even claimed a single tier 2 just yet. Nature's Prophet has finished the Shadow Blade, so now he can start working his way towards the Hex. Actually can instead change his mind and go for Orchid. Well, not really change his mind. He never decided on what he wanted to pick up just yet. As another relocate gank will be used on Bulba. They want to make sure Enigma never has a chance to farm with that BKB. And Bulba being shut down quite heavily. They even used a BKB charge just to burn it. I mean, they figure we already have a huge lead and we have Aegis up on the Chaos Knight. Might as well use all our resources to get as far ahead as we possibly can. Funzy could potentially be in a bit of trouble, but again, the damage potential of Liquid is just not really that threatening. And Orchid for the Nature's Prophet will be finished relatively soon. You will be able to silence heroes like Tree, like Enigma, and allow Chaos Knight to redirect his focus onto other more problematic heroes like the Gyrocopter and Naga. But now Funzy gonna be initiated on by Korok, but he will be able to orb away to safety. Gonna get trapped in the trees for now, and the Overgrowth actually gonna whiff since the Blink Dagger was used by Funzy. Nicely done. Keeper Light gonna deny the middle tower, denying Liquid even more gold, so Liquid definitely very far behind. The only thing going for them is that TC is starting to get some damage online. But still, he's not very tank, especially compared to the Chaos Knight. And Diffusal simply won't be enough in T5. Here comes another real gank up on the top lane. They will pass Dust trying to pick off Korok, but they will pick off IX Mike instead. And right now Liquid in a severe deficit. Chaos Knight wasn't even forced to use a BKB charge. And this is the power of Wisp. Once you get ahead, it's so difficult for the NU team to come back because they have to constantly be grouped up. And when you do that, you're going to lose so much in terms of experience. And if you're not grouped up, then you're going to die, because Chaos Knight Wisp is just a ridiculous combination.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Korok once again disrupting Funzy. Will cancel his dagger, going to pop the call down, trying to do as much damage as possible, but in the end, won't be able to kill off Funzy. Actually getting dangerously close as Funzy forced to burn an orb, as he will blink away to safety. Chaos Knight on the other hand, gonna pick up yet another kill. Naga Siren recall was just not enough. As TC gonna be forced to be driven away. And I'm waiting for the missile. Where is it? It's gonna hunt you down, Funzy. Gotta just accept it. No, he phases it. Stupid bug. But Liquid getting their tier 3 pressured, and I don't know if they can actually defend this tower. They just have no damage to fight Chaos Knight at this point in the game, especially with an Aegis and a Reaver in his back pocket. He has so much HP. And Liquid don't even have that strong split pushing, so they can't even apply pressure to other towers. They're gonna have to look for the fight and hope that something miraculous happens with Bulba being kept down so hard. Won't have that BKB anywhere close to being done. And TC gonna get initiated on you, doesn't have Song of Siren, as Sakshika gonna dispel the Frostbite by casting the Phantasm and then going right into the BKB. TC does get a net off as Sakshika can't attack, as TC was juking him relentlessly, but still, so far, not too much damage to be thrown to Quantic. So Axeman gonna get critted to death, as now Korok gonna be in much of a Blinding Light, gonna push back Liquid as Bulba will be the next one to fall. And this should be GG for Liquid. TC gonna absolutely get melted by that Keeper Light Eliminate. And Quantic did not even have to expend an Aegis, so Liquid getting steamrolled in this game too. Chaos Knight was such a tricky combination to go up against, and I don't think Liquid really prepared for it adequately. They just didn't have enough damage, and didn't really have enough ways to keep them in check, and it is very difficult drafting up against Chaos Knight in this combination. But such is life, so it's going to go to a game 3. Quantic tying up the series 1-1. And we'll see if Liquid can recover and move on to the semifinals, or if Quantic will be able to take down the American heroes and take their place in the semifinals. But we will find out very shortly, so thanks for watching. I'll see you very, very soon to Game 3, so peace out.